Good afternoon. Welcome to July 5th, 2022 Board of Works and Public Safety meeting. So I rise for Pledge Allegiance led by Diana Phillips.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing, please.
Mayor, members of the board, thank you for this opportunity. Let us pray. God, we give you thanks for this day and for the blessings of life. And so we come to you now on behalf of the mayor and the Board of Public Works and Safety. We have the agenda before us, dear God, and so we pray for the new business, for those who have issues or those who have information to be passed along. We lift up the departments and all their matters that they have before the board. We pray for our fire department and the hiring of this new person. We pray, God, a blessing upon him and his family. And this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to remind everyone, please turn your ringers off. We will begin with roll call.
Brian Dahl.
Present.
Becky Gibson.
Here.
Diana Phillips.
Present.
Jim Barrett.
Here.
Everyone has the minutes of the June 21st, 2022 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those?
Motion to accept. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on to new business. We have a public hearing on the preliminary engineering report to obtain assistance from the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Program. Brian Martin from Butler Fairman and Seaford. Brad, you out there? You can come over too, sir. Come on.
I told him I would introduce him. I just wanted to tell you, this is the water main replacement program that we've been talking about. We're working on the SRF financing for it with the estimated closing in December. And these guys at Butler, Brian and Mark, have been engineering this project for us. So he's going to tell a pretty good description of it and give you a good chance to ask some questions.
Thank you, Brad. I'd like to thank the mayor and the board for having us today, and again for Brad and the utilities department for giving us the opportunity to work with them. And as he said, we completed in March 31st, we completed a preliminary engineering report for several projects to SRF for funding in the future. I'm just kind of going to go over and kind of describe some of those projects today. So we looked at a handful of projects around the city. We developed a water model, took some of the break information, discussed Brad, visited with the water department and operators, and kind of came up with a list of projects. You know, and through more meetings and discussions with Brad, we kind of narrowed that down to a handful of projects. Some of the more important projects that we came up with were doing water main replacements on several roadways, and in addition to that, doing a installation of isolation valves across the city. Water main projects are Beeson's addition, which includes Wayne Avenue, Beeson Avenue, Richmond Avenue, Ostheimer Avenue, and then Houston Jackson and Ariens Avenue as well. So Beeson's addition consists of 4 roadways. Wayne, Beeson, Richmond, Ostheimer, like I just said. This area's had a kind of a history of breaks, so we felt like this was a pretty important area to kind of isolate. In addition, it does have, I think it's almost completely in lead services. So that's SRF kind of be a great opportunity to kind of go out and replace those lead services, be from the main to the house. We're typically kind of just go to the meter. Next year is Houston on south of State Road 44, kind of on the west of downtown here. South of 3rd Street, it's about 1,000 feet of water main, 200 feet of water services. In addition, Houston also has lead services as well. Houston's maybe a little more problematic construction. It's a little bit more of an area, narrow area right away. There's utility poles kind of in the way of the utilities. But with its history of breaks, it'll just be another good candidate to take advantage of the SRF funding and replace the water main. Following that is Jackson, north of Country Club Road. It's about 150 feet of water main. Services in this area aren't lead, so they will kind of be replaced just to the property's meter. It doesn't need to be replaced to the house because there's no lead. And lastly is also Ariens Avenue. So between West and 8th Street, on the west side, 800 feet of water main and 240 feet of services. And again, this area does not have lead services, so it'll just be repairing the services to the property's meter. And then in addition to kind of looking at the breaks throughout the city and highlighting which roadways or excuse me, which areas would be good for these replacement projects, discussions with Brad. Over the years, there have been problems with failing valves in larger areas than needed or having to be shut down, and they're having to chase valves for these water leaks or breaks or any sort of projects that are happening. So we were kind of brainstorming with Brad and kind of came up with the idea to install some isolation valves in parts around the city to kind of have lower areas of disturbance. So, that way it can help limit the impact required for repairs. You're shutting down a much smaller area with this installation. That way the man hours from the water can focus on their tasks, and the repair itself. Installation of these valves actually doesn't require a shutdown. It's a lot similar to kind of a hot tap. If you're familiar with that, they take they use a machine while the water's still under pressure, just kind of cuts out a piece of it, and you have the sleeve and insert the valve into it. And then on top of that, to kind of keep up with maintenance, we'll install a valve exercising program with the city. So they'll need regular maintenance of these valves to keep up, executing them all the way, just making the opening and closing correctly. So if one fails in the future, they can kind of keep up with the load. And overall, we looked at installing about 140 isolation valves across the city, ranging from 4 to 12 inches. Let's see. And then in the report we submitted to SRF, these were the cost breakdowns of Beeson's addition, which includes 4 roadways, Houston, Jackson, Ariens, and then the isolation valve project itself. So on top of that, and dealing with SRF and the state, meeting with financial consultants, is kind of lumped in administrative and legal. Engineering fees from the design side, which includes survey, right-of-way services, utility relocation. Then on top of that includes the project inspection, which I think we may be estimated at most 18 to 24 months. And then on top of the construction costs is the total at the bottom at around $6,797,000. So, and again, as part of this requirement with the SRF, since we're applying with them through the funding, I'm going to pass around this meeting attendance record. Hopefully, if you have any questions or concerns, we can get this signed. I have to submit this to the state, and I'll pass that around after questions. So again, thanks to the mayor, board, and the Brad.
Questions?
I got a quick question.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you mentioned the lead, when you mentioned you're going to take it into the homeowners, that's going to be utility stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're trying to. Hopefully, there's still some grant funding out there, so hopefully we can take advantage of that too. But yes, that would be the whole lead service line. Would be to the home, and there'd have to be some coordination with that, with access on their land and getting in the house and making that connection again.
But no cost to the landowner?
No. Yeah, so we had estimated that for the whole service line. And again, that was only in that Beeson area and Houston.
I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
How many isolation valves are there going to be?
We estimated about 140. So
140?
in the design phase, so we did some preliminary design, laid them out. They're 14 to 12 inches. Once it gets kind of like larger than that, they get fairly expensive. So try to minimize that and kind of come up with a final design of the areas to, we're
Were you
isolating.
going by blocks or a certain amount of houses, or what gave you the number of isolation valves?
We kind of came up with cost to benefit and kind of came up with a number. So we were initially, I think, talking to Brad. I think we wanted to keep it around maybe 6 to 8 streets to kind of seem like a good number. And I think it came up to like 1.7 million. So we were comfortable with that number, and ended up being about 140 isolation valves when it was said and done. So we just kind of had a map of the city and kind of went from there and kind of drew it up. So.
I mean, just a rough question, but if we're over budget on some of this, is there any way that some of the isolation valves can be removed and stretched out a little bit?
Yeah, that's probably if with the way prices are going, that's probably the easiest project to adjust.
Okay.
I mean, most of these we're looking to replace the water main, so it's maybe I think because of the breaks and failures, I think maybe reducing the isolation valves probably the greater.
When they did Grand, when I lived out there, the water pressure changed a little bit. Even a few pounds, people were busting water heaters, the relief valves. Do you foresee any pressure changes?
I do not.
I mean, we're going from a clogged line pretty much. I'm gonna only have a 1/2 inch to 2 inch or whatever to a full line now.
Oh, so you're asking for the water services?
Well, there's going to be a lot more, would be more pressure back behind the lines going into the houses. Some of them, I replaced my water line.
Yeah.
So I had a lot more pressure than the neighbor that had an older water line. So I kept blowing relief valves on my water heater.
Right.
And so I was just asking if there's a potential problem you could foresee with the pressure change on the lines?
No, we don't foresee a pressure change or an increase in it at least. There is kind of like the city does have. I mean, some places have pressure problems. The city benefits from actually good pressure on the city, but we don't see an issue with the increase.
Okay.
So, because we're not kind of adding more demand. We're doing mostly, I think, improvements. So I don't see that increasing the pressure.
Okay.
It's not
And
more pumping through it.
on the construction costs, is that actual? Have you bid those or estimated those?
It's just an estimate right now, so a preliminary estimate.
How old the estimate is?
We
The
submit-
reason why I'm saying
Yeah.
that too
Oh,
is
yeah.
because, everybody knows that a $10,000 estimate now could be $12,000 2 days later.
Right. So we submitted the PER March 31st, and
Okay.
we've had some recent pricings that we factored into that. There's a bit of contingency as well. SRF, I think, caps it at 10%. So that's in that construction cost. That was in the presentation and in the report. So later on this year, I think we'll be bid. I think we said December is when we're looking to.
Okay. So,
Any other questions? Okay, I want to open it up for the public hearing now. If anyone from the public has anything to say. Quiet bunch. Okay,
Cool.
I will close the public hearing.
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
I'll pass this meeting attendance around if
Thank you.
thank
you
you.
sign in.
Okay, moving on to Michael. I'll say this one is O'Keefe. Make sure I got that pronounced correctly, sir.
O'Keefe.
Okay. For Frontier Communications.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and leaders of the Borough Works. My name is Mike O'Keefe. I'm Vice President of External Affairs for Frontier for Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. And really excited about being here today and introducing you to our network build for fiber to the home in Connersville area. So basically we are going to be coming in and building a fiber to the home network pretty much across the city of Connersville, using much of our existing structure, which you'll see both in the underground and aerial. There will be some new buried, and we'll get into that a little bit as well. But as you know, telephone company hasn't really invested in our facilities in a long time, and so we're really excited about coming in and providing fiber to the home all the way from our central offices to the home and increasing the speed for customers significantly. and providing a product that nowadays is very much needed. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, I've got control here. So really, we're pretty much going to cover all of Connersville, the city, and minimum speed will be 50 megabits up to 2 gig, and the 2 gig service is symmetrical, so it's both upload and download. Many times with companies you sign up and the upload speed is very different from the download speed, so we're keeping it the same. Of course, there's additional services that you can provide over fiber, streaming, all kind of things in your home these days, right? There's all kind of applications you can sign up for, but there's also telemed, there's remote learning, and everybody with what COVID caused is working from home, but a lot of people are working from home these days and they need the fast download speeds and upload speeds. Just really, this is kind of an overview of all the different services that are available, and everybody, again, many people are participating in them now. I know I cut the cable at home myself a few years ago, and I stream TV and get all the channels and services right off the streaming services. But with fiber, it's future-proof. You can increase speed just by changing out electronics. You don't have to worry about changing out your outside plant. As with copper electrolysis, it degrades, it's impacted by weather. We're not seeing that at all with our fiber product. And the fiber product we're rolling out is proven technology. I used to work for Verizon, and I was in Keller, Texas when we launched Fios, which was the fiber to the home project. Really the first fiber to the home any company launched with Verizon. Same architecture, just upgraded. It's absolutely kind of the same electronics, just several generations better. And so we have seen really no outside plant issues other than cuts. I mean, that's about the only thing that impacts a fiber network is when you get cut. Other than that, it's a very robust network, capable of taking care of all the customers' needs. And we're seeing, when we track the use of data, the demand for data doubling every year. And so to keep up with it, we attempted to leverage our copper network with DSL and with CAF funding. Not in just the recent past. Copper just doesn't carry the speed. You have to be very, very close to the equipment to get any kind of speed out of it at all. So, big upgrade. This is basically just a view of our network. It starts in the central office, new equipment in the central office. Goes out to hubs, which sit out like our cross connects do today out in the network. Then go to terminals, and 8 people can work from the terminal. And then goes to a nice router, wireless router in the customer's home, where they can maintain those very fast 2 gig speeds with the router. Physical connection can be made to the router as well. This is going to be available for residential and business, okay, as we turn up the network. And as we build the network, we're going to build it, and we're going to turn those phases up as we get it built, okay? One of the things that we're really going to need as we build the network, of course, are approval permits. We're going to be making augmentations to our existing network out here and putting a lot of cable in, some buried, some in the underground, again, using our existing ducts, which will be unintrusive to the public. We're going to be doing a lot of overlashing of cable, where our facilities already exist on poles and the copper cable already goes down in these right-of-ways. We're going to overlash right to those cables. So again, not really intrusive other than having to get in people's backyards. And I'm going to talk a minute about what we're going to do to make sure people know we're coming and what we're doing, that we're doing the work on their street. We will be cleaning up, by the way, and this may be a question that comes up, some of our existing pole lines. So some require some tree trimming. Some poles need to be changed out that are broken. As we build this network, we want to make sure it's future-proofed as well. So if we have to clear trees out of the way, around our cables, if we have to replace poles, straighten up poles, we're going to be doing some of that work as we build this network. Some of that has been long overdue, I would believe you would tell me as well. We're going to place yard signs where we're building so people know that we're coming. And also, the construction crews are going to be door hangering. So any street we're going to go down, anywhere we're going to build, we're going to make sure that we put door hangers out for those customers so they know what's coming. They know. So keep calls from coming to City Hall and saying, who's out here? Why are utilities being located in my area? Why is this paint on the ground? So we're again trying to alleviate a few of the calls, and we're also providing customers contact numbers. We're going to take pictures before we build. This is what the street looked like. This is what the ground looked like. And we're expecting our contractors to put everything back the way it was when they found it. Okay, so again, to keep those calls from coming in, somebody wrecked my lawn, I need somebody to come out and take care of it. There will be contact information provided to contact our company that's actually doing the construction, so they can deal with the customer directly. Just some pictures of what the equipment in the field will look like. This is a hub on the left. They are much smaller than our existing copper hubs are that are out there in the network today. And in many cases, we place them in that same general area of the hubs that are out there, the cross connects for the copper. We also are using hand holes, so not sticking up. And some of that's splice points where we splice our fibers together. But these are much smaller, lower profile than some of our boxes that we've had out there in the past for copper. Just an example of anywhere we are going to go buried, we do directional boring, so it's not trenching. So we minimize the impact to customers' yards. We use subduct. There's a hole and a hole made, a sending pit and a receiving pit, and generally 30 to 36 inches deep on the boring. Pull the subduct through and then pull the fiber through that. It's a picture of our buried terminal where they have underground, the splices underground, so we can use a lower profile terminal above the ground versus the pedestals now that stick up at least 36-40 inches. So it's a little lower profile terminal. That's an example of an aerial terminal. We can serve up to 8 customers out of these terminals generally. And that's a picture of the equipment on the side of the house. It's called an optical network terminal. And we will be providing voice with this service. If the customer wants, we just move their inside wires that they have to their jacks now right over to a lug in our terminal, and they can have voice over the fiber as well. Now, it's important to know that we are not changing out, ripping out our copper network, because PUC requirements that we still give customers an option. If they want to stay on copper, they can stay on copper, or they can move over to the fiber product. There is battery backup available for voice if a customer should choose. The customer would purchase a battery backup unit, they put D batteries in it, and it would provide them, if power goes out, the ability to talk on the phone for another 6 or 8 hours. Okay, so that's an option. This is kind of this is a map of our network build. This is not all of it. This is the feeder routes. We're going north, south, east, and west. And by the way, Nathan Stipp is with me today. Nathan is the lead engineer for Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. And this is really just a map of the feeder routes. All the detailed engineering is following, and Nathan told me that we already have several approvals for permits from the city already, going north, and the route going north. 7,500 customer locations passed. And you can see the breakdown of, at least on the feeder route, 22,000 feet of underground in our conduit systems, 43,000 aerial. A lot of that will be that overlash I talked about before, and 22,000 feet buried. And in many cases, the cities we're going into are not seeking permits for the underground or we're overlashing because we're already there. I don't know if, we haven't had that discussion whether we're going to need permits for that or not, but certainly for the new buried, we will. So,
Not to interrupt, but what are the color coordinations on here, the green and the yellow lines? I understand the phases or the areas, but
those are different size fibers.
Okay.
So if, based on the color, some may be much bigger fibers because they have to distribute out to other, little tending remotes. And all the orange squares are the hub locations. Hub locations, correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, you're going to get a file of the hub locations, GPS coordinates for the hub locations. You can go out and see exactly where we're going to place those hubs to make sure that, they're not going to be right in the middle of somebody's front yard. They're going to be in places where the techs, when they work in it, will be safe, and they won't be, an eyesore for somebody. So there are 35 hubs that are going to be placed in this project as well. So that covers all of the locations. So really, do you have any questions for Nathan or I?
I just got a quick question for you. You mentioned the customer's going to be able to keep the copper or choose the fiber. Was there a cost difference between the two?
There will be a different price point for fiber for the data. It's going to be very competitive. I'm not supposed to really share pricing.
Well, I'm not asking you to do
Yeah,
that.
but it'll be different price.
I was just curious, as when you said
Yeah.
they would be offered a chance to stay with copper.
Yeah. I think customers will be incented to move to fiber because for us as a company, it's less expensive to maintain. Our trouble rate is much lower on fiber than it is on copper.
when's your completion date, do you estimate?
We're hoping to complete this year, correct?
That's the goal.
Yep.
I know you said you were cleaning up the poles. Are you cleaning up all the copper as well? Because there's areas where it's just kind of very unsightly. They're stranded everywhere. They're hanging everywhere. The trees are on them. I get that. The poles are bad, but there's sites of the copper that needs cleaned up as well, so it doesn't look as bad.
So we can do that if you have specific sites. I mean, we're going to tell our construction crews as they go out there, make sure they identify any of those needs, and we're giving them the license to clean up what they think needs to be cleaned up. Now, I don't think we're going to, try to remove all abandoned drops.
I get
Because,
that. Just
yeah.
clean them up. There's some
Yeah.
of them that are just hanging. You can almost reach up and grab some.
Oh yeah, clearances is definitely something that they're supposed to address. Yeah. Both on the cable and if they have a drop that's down too low, they're supposed to clean that up. So that'll be part of it. We have an inspector as well that's going to be following our crews and making sure they're doing all those type of things. Okay.
Make sure we get his information too as well.
Absolutely. We're going to share a contact list with you. So you'll have, we have an engineering vendor, Yates Engineering. We have Direct Line Communications is the construction vendor, and you'll get their contact information as well. So we'll get all the contacts from engineering and our coordinator that schedules all the work to you guys, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item C, approval of agreement with Westler Engineering Construction Standards Update. Brad, you want to talk about that one? What would you see, D?
You do. So C is So the construction standards is, we've been working on a combined project with the Commissioners, Redevelopment Commission, to upgrade our local community construction standards. They're from 2002, and they're very antiquated. So I'd like to ask for you to approve for the utilities to pay for $10,000, 1/3 of this project. It's about a $30,000 project. I can give you the exact amount. It's kind of hidden in this, but 30,120, so the utilities would be a third of that. Redevelopment's gonna pay a third of it, and the commissioners, I've gotta go to the commissioners meeting and get that other third approved, so.
If you don't get the other 2/3 approved, are you gonna come back here and ask for more money, or?
I think they will. The commissioners have already basically agreed. We just have to go over there and get the final approval or whatever, because we didn't have a price yet.
Who was the other third, Brad? Sorry.
Redevelopment Commission,
Thank you.
who is already approved.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't foresee any problems with the commissioners paying for the third, because everybody knows it's well needed.
Make a motion we approve the request.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item D.
The next thing is an agreement to upgrade our ordinances and our processes on MS4. MS4 has been going through somewhat of it. I ought to have Erin. Erin, can you hear me? If you can't, come in here and talk. She just happens to be here for something else. She's going to speak to this way better than I am.
Okay, so last year they updated and put in place a new MS4 program, and part of that we have to update our ordinances so that we are in agreement with the new item rules. So this is just a contract for us to get our ordinances up to date. It's the anything to do with our MS4 or stormwater. So.
Can you kind of explain for people what
So MS4 is just our stormwater program. It is part of what those stormwater fees that are in the monthly bills that pay. It's just how we protect the stormwater that is going out to the river. So this includes illicit discharges and then also, I think that's the main one, is our illicit discharge ordinance. Am I looking at the right one? No. Yeah. The IDDE, which is the illicit discharge, and then our construction and our post-construction. So they're going to update all our ordinances so that we're in compliance with items.
So basically, this is something we really should do, have to do.
Yeah. No matter what, we have 72 months. We just put our notice of intent in. Chad signed it Thursday. We just submitted it. We have 72 months from today, actually, to get these ordinances up to date. So this will just help us get going and make sure that they match what all of item wants from us.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you very much. And on down to item E, approval agreement by Fairman Seifert for inspection services on Opportunity Drive.
So everybody sees the new development going up around Walmart. They've got a real good contractor up there, which I can't think of the name off the top of my head. What's their contractor? Smith and Brown?
Yeah.
Brown and Smith. So they're doing a good job, but I wanted to have some level of inspection on that project up there on our part, because we're going to be likely inheriting whatever they build, the water and sewer and this lift station. So I don't have time to be up there myself watching that. So this will just provide some level. We threw a number at it. I don't really expect it to be, I think the number in the proposal was 15,000. I don't really expect it to be that much. We're utilizing part-time inspection with the same inspector that's going to be watching over the paving project. So he'll already be in town, and it was just a good way to have somebody put a sort of overhead view of that project for us.
Have we reported to you on all this?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Very much. Move on now to department matters. Brett?
I wanted to talk to you a minute about the utility receipt tax. That is a tax that the state used to charge, and the legislator did away with it. And so we have to give, it's a tax that is not, doesn't show on your bill, but it's built into the rate. So a lot of places are doing a rate study, and then they're figuring what that refund is and giving it back to the people in a reduced rate. So some people you may have seen, like Pleasant View Utilities, just advertised that they were reducing their rate by such and such amount. We are also doing the same thing, but I want to kind of be transparent about it. We were already going through a rate study because of our water bond, and we will also be returning that as a refund in our rates. But we could have either paid for another rate study and did it right now, or included it in the rate study we're already doing. If we had another rate study done, likely we would have paid more for the rate study to refund the money to people than we would have refunded, because it's about 1%, but it's only on water consumed. So it's about, they don't like me telling the amount because it's different for each person depending on what they consume, but it's like 35 cents or something a month for most residents.
So this is a rebate they're getting, not a tax, an added tax.
We used to have to include this tax and pay it to the state, and they repealed the tax. So we have to show the legislators are making us prove that we took it out. Not just say, oh, okay, we won't charge that anymore and not do anything. They want you to do rate, to
It's not an
figure it in
additional
your
tax.
rates.
It's not an additional tax.
It's a tax that used to exist, they repealed it, and now we have to make sure that we refund it to the people. And we will be, in this new rate study, that will be figured into the mix.
We were charging it, and I think there are some communities who were not charging it, and they still have to rebate it back to their customers as if they were charging it. But yeah, it's not an additional one.
So it's a refund of about 1.5% just on water consumed. So it's a little more for bigger customers, you know, amounts to something worthwhile for them. So I just reporting on that. You don't have to do anything. I just wanted you to sort of know about it because some utilities are making a big, you can see that other utilities have refunded it pretty quickly, and we're going to be just a little bit slower. I got a trash pickup for you to approve at 6, 23, 25, and 27 Central. Looks like it's mostly used as office space.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Sure.
Alex McFall is our new trash truck driver for about 3 months now. He has now become very efficient at his skills, and we wanted to get him raised up to full pay for trash truck driver, which is an increase of about 80 cents. So asking you to approve that increase.
Motion to approve the request.
Second.
So,
Have a motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
I skipped over one, didn't I? So I'm going to talk to you about 3 hirings all at the same time. On the agenda here, I'm asking permission to hire somebody at the street department. We had a resignation over there a couple of weeks ago. Byron Payton will be the guy that we hired.
What will he be doing?
Trash truck. He'll be starting out on the trash truck.
We need a motion to approve the request. So moved.
Second.
Have a motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
We're also looking to hire an extra part-time person at the office. It's not necessarily that many more hours. We have one part-time person, and she can only work so many hours. And we're trying not to overtax her. So we want to have we just kind of want to add to the pool of available people when we need extra help, especially going into this software change out. All of the people in the office are going to be spending extra time doing different things, and there may be a little more use for somebody extra this next 6 months or so.
Motion to approve the request.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
The last hiring is not on the agenda because it just happened Friday, but we had a person sort of quit without notice. And we have a few people off at the utilities because of illnesses and different things like that. And we're sort of down in this vacation period of time during the summer. We're kind of short, so I want to go ahead and bring it up today and try to get permission to get somebody hired over there.
Motion to approve.
Clarify the department.
It's in the
Utility.
utilities. Didn't I say utilities? I'm sorry.
You just said somebody quit. No.
Was this full-time?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thanks, sir.
Aaron's gonna, Hydro's offered to make a donation to us and we wanted you to approve for us to accept it.
Okay, so we updated our gas meters. Can you have a picture of it?
I do have someone in this mess.
So we updated our gas meters that we use to, if guys enter a confined space, it'll detect the oxygen level and other dangerous gases. So we got a new meter in May, and under some crazy circumstances, Hydro knew that we were updating, and they offered to donate to us a calibration center. So every 24 hours, the meter has to get what's called a bump test, and this calibration center will do the bump test, keep the records for us, as well as calibrate it monthly if it requires it. So they're willing to donate to us the whole calibration center as well as a backup meter. Just asking your guys' approval for it. I mean, I don't see any downsides to this.
For those
Make a
who-
motion to approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the donation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
And I'll clarify, Hydro is the facility across from Fred Studios on Western, so
Yes.
people will know who's made
Yep.
this
I
donation.
think we should send them a thank you.
Absolutely,
I believe so.
yes.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
As if that wasn't enough, that's it for me.
Chief Jones.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As all of you know, a couple months ago, I had one of my firefighters left to go to a different department. The board gave me permission to replace that firefighter. I have with me Michael Schnelly. Michael went through the process last fall, did very well at every step of the process, and the committee really liked Michael and chose him to be the next one to be hired, and we plan on starting him Friday. He's also an EMT. He went through EMT school on his own a few months ago, just finally passed his EMT, so we'd be glad to have him and ready to get him on and start training.
I'll make a
Motion to
motion.
approve the chief's request.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. We're all swearing in after. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll be swearing it afterwards.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent Good.
Hi.
Hello.
Just came to ask for some things this afternoon. The first one I have is for the play surfacing at 2nd Street Park. I told you guys that this one would be coming and it's here. This is for the rubber, it's called pour in place surfacing, that will be going under the swing set area as well as on top of the hill. So we can be ADA compliant and allow for inclusivity at the park. I would like to go with vendor number 2. This page kind of summarizes each bid. I'd like to go with number 2 with, and I probably will not say this right, aliphatic binder option. It is the middle of the road. I kind of disqualified the other option from the same vendor because the architects I'm working with say that this product is known to yellow. So even though it's a little bit cheaper, I don't want to risk having to replace something that's expensive because of discoloration. So I believe if you disqualify that one, I'm asking for the cheapest option. And again, this would be coming out of those restricted donations for the park. So just need your okay to spend $64,991 on the surfacing.
Motion to approve the request.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Thank you. The next one, I think I told you that we were going to start looking into building a storage pole barn on the south side of the Miller Building. We currently have a very small storage shed there now. If you can picture that in your head, that barn would be torn down and this would be built partially in its place. It would obviously encompass more territory than that little shed took up. I have quite a few variant in pricing on this project, but I would like to go with Friendly Contracting. We are going to do a 24 by 40, that's what I was looking for, size pole barn with a cement slab. It'll have 2 windows for ventilation. It'll have a garage style door, and then as well just a regular exterior door. What we're going to put in this barn is kind of all of our ugly stuff that's taking up too much room in the Miller Building. So we've got those bleachers that sit outside the building constantly. We have soccer goals that take up the back entrance. We have soccer walls that we track back and forth from the Roberts Building. We have basketball goals that we have to store until they go to the high school for that season. So they're big items, they're in the way, and they clog up our beautiful breezeways in the Miller Building, and something we just really need to have. So I would be taking this out of my current budget. It would not be coming out of anything additional. But again, I'd just like your permission to get started on that project.
Catherine, I got a question on both of the bids, because both the number 1 and number 2 were, first one here, the second one, the closest one.
Yeah.
One from Rish and one from Friendly. They're not the same. I'm seeing if they, correct me if I'm wrong, because this one from Friendly has a 6 by 24 approach. The approach from the other one is 24 by 32, and if they're only $1,500 difference, that's 4 times the amount of concrete.
No, the one from him went way up. Did I not send you the right one?
No, I got
Oh, I
them to where they're
apologize.
only.
No, we actually went back and had them correct them, and his went up to over $40,000 when it matched the other. You're right. I went back to all 3 of them because some had windows and some didn't, and some they all matched. But the one from the one you're talking about, it went up like $10,000 more. I just failed to include the correct bid for some reason.
It went up 10,000?
It did.
Because if he brought it down to the 6 by 24 concrete.
They did. They matched. I can send it to you after the meeting.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate that.
This one was the cheapest, and then the third vendor did not ever update his bid to include the windows. He was at a 20 by 40 instead of 24.
He's by 4 instead of 8.
The approach was a little bit smaller. And then he was also going to outsource most of the labor. So I don't know if that matters to you guys, but I just want to make sure it gets done. So
The first one, the one you want to go with, is going to outsource the labor?
no, the third one.
Okay.
I never got an updated bid from him.
I think this project needs to be done. We have to. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the contract for Friendly Contracting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more that's not on the agenda because our fryer just bit the dust on Friday morning, Thursday night, I forget, last week. Did you guys get these bids?
They're here.
Okay, they're all pretty much the same. We want to go with this brand. It's the brand we're all used to. The fryers lasted us almost 15 years and it's just dead. We tried to get it refurbished. We spent like $3,000 on it 2 summers ago. Drove it somewhere in Ohio. They cleaned it. They said they tried to completely overhaul it. It won't hold its temperature. It is extremely expensive, but fried foods are the thing that we sell the most of at our concession stand, and we have to have this style because of the age of our concession workers. It has to be enclosed, as well as we don't want a big open oil fryer and that little, probably a fire hazard, they would probably tell you. So it is very expensive, but luckily, good news, since we were not able to open on time, we did not have concession expense, we did not have employee expense for the entire month of June, so it might actually be a really good summer to make this purchase, but we gotta have it. So, and they're all basically the same price, but
What's the return on investment on that, Catherine? I mean,
Well-
would we literally sell enough to be able to get
interestingly
14,000?
enough, we try to calculate that out for you. So just in fries, chicken, the popcorn chicken, the corn dogs, the cheese cubes, and the fried pickles, last season we sold $4,959 worth of fried food in one season. And we had quite a bit of rain last season. So we have been out of fried food since we have made, let's see, the pool opened on the 29th. We have sold out. We have reordered from Cisco twice in 3 days. We have grossed over $1,000 every day in concessions without our fryer. So
This is my opinion.
we would make up our money pretty quickly, and if we don't have it, then we're just,
I mean, my opinion is a 3.5 to 4 year return on investment isn't good. To me, I would say we need to do a little bit more research and try to be able to find another fryer. That's my opinion. You guys vote however you want.
Well, this is something I imagine that they're hard to get.
yeah, that's why I would like to go with the Webstaurant, just because it says it will ship in 1 to 2 business days. The other one didn't give us any kind of time frame, and then the second one was like 14 days, I believe.
Did you say you had a problem with being able to get an enclosed fryer? You said something about the others were open or
Yeah, it has to be an enclosed fryer.
because of the age of your people who are,
Yeah,
because you have
and
teenagers
I
working
imagine
there.
it's a fire hazard to have an open fryer in that. We don't have a big ventilation.
And for insurance purposes, I could see where that could be a problem having them.
Is fire suppression needed? Because we take one out, put another one in, fire suppression might be needed. I don't know.
This is the same size as what we currently operate with. It's the biggest one we can get.
I'm not worried about the size so much, Catherine. I'm just worried about, I mean, there's two things, the return on investment and do we need a fire suppression system? That actually might be a good Scott question.
Is he out there? Well, he's got to be out there.
He should be out there. Brian, is Scott out there? Hey, Scott, by chance, do you know if we remove a fryer from the pool,
If you remove water.
concessions, if we move a fryer, gas fryer or oil fryer, do we need fire suppression if one's removed and another one's brought in?
With the new installation, that's very well possible. I'll have to look.
We're taking out one enclosed fryer and putting in the same thing back.
Yeah, they usually, any new installation, they usually require a hood with
Yeah.
some kind of suppression.
That's what I
in it.
thought.
I can look at what you got and let
Yeah.
you know for sure.
Might need to look at that. Right
Well,
now,
we
I'm
have
gonna vote
Corson come out,
Yeah,
annually and
Annually
look
and
at
inspect
it.
it and clean it.
Yeah, to inspect it, but when you move one out, move another one in, I agree with Scott, just because I've been in that business before, that
Yeah.
it
new
might need upgraded or something,
New
you know.
construction, it usually requires,
Yeah.
yeah. for grease, vapors and stuff, for hood and a suppression system in the hood.
Even if it's the same
Sorry.
thing.
If it's if it's a replacement, new construction, yeah. I'll look into it.
Can we table this for a couple weeks or?
Till the next meeting, maybe.
I'm not.
You're gonna
I'm
kill
not-
the pool, I'm sorry.
I'm not familiar with
You're
what,
gonna
I'm
kill
not,
concessions.
yeah, I'm not familiar
Well, I
with
mean, we gotta do it
your
right.
system,
Yeah.
but I can come up and take a look at it.
So,
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. I honestly didn't know you even had a grease fryer.
we don't, well, I mean, it uses, but see, this is where it fries and it's inside this thing. It's not like, you know,
Okay.
your basket fryer at McDonald's that's,
I would have thought that Corson would have caught this when they did the
that,
inspection.
yeah, that's why I bring
Well,
that
it's-
up, is because you think if we needed that extra equipment, Corson would have said,
It says it's a
hey.
ventless deep fryer, which I'm not too familiar with. Like I said, I'd have to look at that. Usually, yeah, Corson knows the fire codes. When they do any kind of installation, they'll usually, they say, yeah, you gotta have this, 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 and this. Obviously, that's their job too. Did you say that they recommended that?
This is the exact same thing that we have, it's just a new one.
She might be okay with that then, but I can't say for 100% certainty without looking at it.
Oh,
So I don't
Can
know
we-
if
can
you're
we-
We'll
okay
have
with it.
concession
Can we-
stand.
I mean, can you,
Can we vote on the contingency that
pending,
pending,
Because we could very well go back and order this and then say, that'll be 30 days. I mean, just because it says 1 to 2, that's my worry too.
yeah, can we vote on the contingency that everything is, that
I've got 2 strikes against it in my opinion.
I can-
I'm
I
gonna
can-
vote no, you guys vote however
I
you
can
want.
give you something in writing, if that's what.
Well, let's
Just so
check
we
with
know.
Corson and have
Yeah,
some.
they were just out a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
before we even opened, and they gave us our
But if we're gonna
okay.
have concessions at the pool, we're gonna have equipment,
right.
So.
Yeah,
my-
it's beyond repair.
I understand that, but we also deep frying stuff that, the return on investment just isn't there. You got 4 years to pay on the piece of equipment.
That's-
And the oil on top of it and everything else. I mean, maybe there's another concession that we could go with other than the fried food, because really we're putting,
How long have you had this one?
Like 15 years, I would guess.
Sets the rules.
So it-
Yeah. Because I know Amy was there 8, she's been gone 2, and I think it was old when Amy started, or older when Amy started, so yeah, I'm guessing it's at least 12 to 15 years old.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve a request, and we also to check with Corson on this to see if we need to do anything additional. That's my motion.
Can you guys come out with
Are you saying prior to
Come up and look at it.
purchasing?
Pardon?
Are you saying prior to purchasing?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
So I'm gonna clarify your motion.
Yeah.
So you're making a motion to request purchasing this unless Corson says you have to have a more ventilation system.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
'cause I wanna make sure I heard it
that?
correctly.
Yeah, if we have to change anything,
I can
go
write
order it.
something saying that there's no additional requirements.
Okay. So we have a motion contingent upon Corson to approve this fryer.
Okay.
We have a motion, and do you still second?
Yeah.
We have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
aye.
Motion, 1 no, 3 yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Old business. Is there any old business? Miscellaneous business. Huh? Claims.
The claim for the city on July 5th is $120,181.48. Payroll, $577,350.09. Utilities, $458,591.91.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on down to public forums. Anyone from the public have anything to say? Can't see outside, but, okay, if not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a good day.